Hi everyone. I want to demonstrate the capability of FIFO override, which we have implemented and deployed to stage and prod last Friday and Monday. So the whole concept of FIFO override came from the fact that in scenarios where certain wells are going to be shut down, production accountants would like to sell off the inventory belonging to those wells in all the tanks first, so that they can bring closure from the accounting perspective. For that, because currently our product basically uses FIFO logic when drawing out inventory from the tanks. It basically would check which was the earliest oil inventory which came into the tank, and draw out that first, and then do that in the FIFO fashion, the first in first out fashion. What we are trying to enable here is allowing the user a capability to select which wells inventories have to be drawn out first, overriding the FIFO logic. So essentially, the way it functions is the allocation engine would actually go and check if there are any wells for which FIFO override has been enabled, and if it has been enabled, then it would draw out, for every draw out on the tank, it would first draw out all the volume belonging to that well first, before even going and tapping into the volume belonging to the other wells in the tanks. Okay, so as a way to demonstrate this, what I've set up here is I've modified our provision multi-tier network in this manner, and what I'm going to show here is first run allocations for this network without FIFO override enabled, and then I'll show you how to enable FIFO override, and then show you how this affects the inventory drawdown. So what I do here is I modified the network a little, and then went and ran the allocations for the month of July for the multi-tier network. And what you see here is basically the ledger for the tank 401. Okay. And tank 401 is here. All the inventory coming into the tank is coming from the wells 401, 402, and 403. And run tickets are the only ways to draw out volumes from this tank. Okay. So what essentially FIFO override becomes important when there is going to be some remnant inventory after a draw out event on a tank. So what we essentially should look for is a scenario where there is a sales draw out, but still there was ending inventory after the sales draw out. So I believe that scenario exists on the 29th here. So on the tank, the beginning inventory was 226 barrels. There's some inventory which was drawn out, but there's still leftover inventory in the tank at the end of it. Okay. So what I'll do here is I'll actually show you guys how does the ledger transaction look like in a normal state. So what you see here is there is an extra column which we have added, which shows the FIFO override priority, if at all any well was enabled to for the FIFO override. So what you notice here is none of the wells are actually, there's no override enabled on any well. So the pure play FIFO logic is implemented, where the oldest inventory is drawn out first. So if you see here, the inventory belonging all the way from 8th till the 22nd is drawn out, right? So and then there is some inventory belonging to the 22nd which is left over, and whatever inventory which came on the 24th all the way till 24th, 25th, and then the inventory which came in on the 29th is also shown as the remaining oil on this tank. So what I would do next is essentially go and say that I'll enable FIFO override for 401, which essentially means that the first draw out of the 176 barrels which was drawn out, the first at first all the inventory belonging to well 401, including the production on the day of allocation, is going to be drawn out first, and only then the draw out would start happening for the rest of the well inventories, which is the 402 and 403. Okay, so the draw out will continue to happen till all the inventory belonging to 401 is completely drawn out. Okay. So to show that, what I would do here is I'll show you how to enable the the FIFO override. So what we do here is we can actually select which well you want to do override. We have a priority level here. That is, if more than one well has to be flushed out, then we can tell the allocation engine which well should be flushed out first and which should be flushed out next. So in this case, if I had selected well 401 and 402, then what would happen is first the inventory belonging to 401 will be drawn out. Then the inventory belonging to 402 is going to be drawn out before it goes into the other well inventories within the same tank. One more point to note is the override logic is applicable across all the tanks. That is, let's say if I had set up override 1, 2, and 3, override setting 1, 2, and 3, the setting of 1 has the highest priority. It overrides 2, and 2 overrides 3, and all of these override the basic FIFO logic. So what we are saying here is, if there was one tank with inventories belonging to well 401 and 402, then 401 is drawn out first, and then 402 will be drawn out. And this logic is applicable across all the tanks on the network. If there are 5, in this case, there is 401 as well as 402, which has inventories belonging to all the 3 wells, right? So essentially, if I actually do this setup 401 and save it, the drawout priority would be set on both the tanks, because both of those tanks have inventory belonging to well 401. So let me just start with a single setup. I can go override this. The general directive is, this is something which affects the way allocation is going to be done on this network. So this is a setting which is saved along with the network config. So if a user has to basically set up a FIFO override across a specific date range, then they have to go and essentially create a new network and select the date range, network version, select the date range over which this override should be implemented. Okay. So I save this now, and now what I would go is I go and rerun the allocation for the month of July. That would ensure that my drawout logic here is implemented correctly. Okay, so the ledger should be up to date now. If you see the total drawout on the day would remain the same. It's only the distribution of it across different wells that is going to differ. So we jump into the same date, and if you notice here, the well 401 has an override priority set. The priority is 1. So if you notice here, earlier we were only seeing we're seeing all the 3 wells inventory drawn out first, all the way till the 22nd of February. But what you notice here is, first, what the allocation engine does is it actually takes 176 barrels and starts drawing out volumes belonging to, I'll show it this way. If you see it here, it actually pulled out volume belonging to all the days starting from the 8th of July all the way till the 29th. Even the volume produced on the 29th, it drew it out as part of the sales allocation. And then it jumps into the other 2 wells and implements the normal FIFO logic across those. So that's why when you see this, you would notice that there's inventory belonging to well 402 and 403, even for the dates of 23rd, 24th, 25th of July. But the inventories belonging to well 401 was drawn out. There's no remaining inventory belonging to 401. Okay. So this is how the override works. And if you see this, normally when you have a FIFO override, and if you go and check the inventories of the subsequent date, you generally see that in a lot of cases, the inventory belonging to the previous day is absent for that well. So you don't have any previous inventories belonging to well 401, because on the 29th of July, all the inventory of 401 got drawn out, overriding the FIFO logic. So this is how it works for that well. Let's also check 402 on what happened on 402. The tank 402, because the override logic is applicable there as well. There is a drought here, there is an ending inventory, so we can actually see the case of tank 402. You would notice that every day, because there is a drought, because tank 402 is actually supplying volume to the sales meter, and sales meter actually is drawing out a significant volume every day. So at a daily level, you would see that all the volume belonging to 401, which got produced on that day, is actually sold out because of the override logic. Okay, so if I go here, select 6th, and then select 14th, and you start noticing that transaction day 14, you have at the beginning of the day, you don't really have any inventory belonging to 401, because on the 13th of July, all the volume even produced on that day belonging to the well 401 got sold out. That keeps happening. So this is how the FIFO logic works. What I can do now is I'll go and now change the FIFO logic and actually apply it across three no, I think this was not loaded. We just, yeah. I mean, you can always click the FIFO override and check this. I think this was not reloaded, so it is just showing the previously loaded state. Yeah. So if I edit, now I can go and actually add. I'll add 402 and 404 also. So now essentially the FIFO override will work on oil tank 401, 402, 403, and 404. On 401 and 402, well, 401 and 2 would be implemented. And on 404, and on these two tanks, the override for 404 would be implemented. But the order of override is determined by this ranking which we give, the priority level which we give. 2 overrides 3, 1 overrides 3, and 1 overrides 2. In case the inventory belonging to these wells exists in the tank. So I'll override this. Go and run the monthly allocation for that. Well, network. Wait for this allocation to finish. And we can actually check. You can see the override setting here. You would also notice the same when you're actually seeing the results here. Generally, production numbers don't really get affected. What really changes is the sales numbers. So if you actually go and check the sales, you would notice that the sales numbers would change. What you're also seeing here is, what you see here right now is actually the override setting on this network version, right? And our results are basically tied to the network version. Okay, go back and check. Okay, this is complete. So let me go and check the inventory for well 401. I check for the date 29th. Now you would see that inventory belonging to both the wells is actually drawn out first, and the well 403 is going to be drawn out last. So that's where you would see actually 403's older inventory staying back as remaining inventory because 1 and 2 are being drawn out first. And even in the case of 1 and 2, finally you would notice that 1 actually got drawn out completely and 2 only got drawn out partially because 1 has the higher priority in the FIFO override. So this is what is happening on well 401. Something similar would happen in 402. Or you can pick any thing and you'll notice that 401 and 402 have priority. So most probably that inventory got sold out on the previous day. So we don't have any older inventory belonging to the 10th of July here. And on the 11th of July, you see that these two inventories get sold out first, and then only the 403 turn comes. Let's also see what has happened on the other branch of the network. We'll see both the tanks 404 and 403. You will notice, okay, there is some ending inventory here. So you'll notice that although the FIFO priority is 3, because the other two wells don't have any priority set, this still overrides the other two wells. So the drawout completely happens for this specific well. And in the case of 405, I believe this was the older inventory. So 404's 11th of July inventory gets drawn out first. And then the allocation engine looks at the rest of the ledger. And in the rest of the ledger, you'll see that because this is an older inventory, this got drawn out completely, the 405's 10th of July inventory. And then in the 11th of July, whatever is left over is drawn out. You can look at something similar. Yeah, in this case, you would notice that this inventory belonging to the 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th here, because 404 has override normally in the previous dates also, you would notice that well 404's even produced inventory gets drawn out every day. So you would not. So if you see here, we have 13 404's. Okay, there's no sales on this day, is it? Okay, so there's no sales on this day. So whatever got produced stays back on the 13th. And on the 14th, what happened was inventory, the 404's inventories got completely drawn out. And then the 40, yeah, so these two, 3.55, 3.55, and 123.42 got drawn out first. And then in the rest of the ledger, the normal FIFO logic was implemented. That's why the inventory belonging to the 12 here, the older inventory gets drawn out, even though it belongs to 405. And then the 405's older inventory, the 12th of July gets drawn out. And then comes the turn for 13th and the 14th of July, where you see some leftover inventory belonging to 405 here. Yeah, so that's how the FIFO override can be configured, and it works. It's a setting which is applied across the whole network. So whichever wells are selected for override, those inventories belonging to all those wells across all the tanks on the network get FIFO priority assigned to them. Yeah, thanks, Chris.